this lab. This is the second program of the lab, program 1 part B, where you're supposed to repeat the exercise that you did in part A of the same program using an input file specified by the user instead of the standard input, and using an output file specified by the user instead of the standard output. So these are some of the header files that we are going to include. So this is going to be the new one for you, your fstream, that is containing all the necessary APIs for handling the file operations, like opening the file, closing the file, writing something into the file, and all that. So the other header files are pretty much something which you already know. So here necessarily what we're trying to do is we get two file names from the user. One is the file which is containing the list of names. So in our case it will be in file, and the other one is the output file to which we are supposed to write the reversed name. So this guy in file will have all the list of names, and we will read each name line by line, one by one, and reverse them and write it into output file which the user gives. So please observe this line here, which contains two file handlers. Necessarily f input p and f output p are the two file handlers. They're all the objects of fstream class. Now this fstream is what we got by including this header fstream. So f input p and f output p are necessarily the objects of fstream class. Now they are the two file handlers which we will be using to open the file and write something into it. Next thing that we are supposed to do is get the name of the file in which the names are there, one by one, which we will read, and one in a line in fact, and then scan the next file, that is the output file, into which we are going to write the reversed files. Now what are these lines doing? Please observe the syntax for opening a file. The syntax for opening a file is something like this. So this is the file handler fpin, and we are using open as the API. This open is again a member function of this fstream class, right? And this is the input file name, and then this is the mode in which you are supposed to open this particular file to read something. So remember, we are opening this file in read mode, so that's the reason we are opening it in input mode. This once this particular API is successful, this is going to return a positive value which will be there in this is the logical file that we talk about, right? This is the physical file that is present, the name of the file on the disk, and the link between the program and the actual file that is present on the disk is this file handler fpin. Okay, so once this is successful, we are going to get that. The next file that we are supposed to open is output file. The syntax remains the same thing. So file handler open output file, that is the file name again, and in which mode we are supposed to open that. Because we are going to write something into this, we are supposed to open in output mode, that is write mode. Okay, so once again the same thing happens here. Once we are successful, now the speciality of this open function is that if this particular file is not present, you need not worry, it will create it for you, right? So don't worry, it will create it for you, and it will open it in the write mode. So you can write something into this particular file. Here we are supposed to write all the reverse names that are there in file, right? So this is called as the next few lines in the if is called as the error handling. Now what is happening here is, if either of the file fail to open either the input file or the output file. The syntax for that is something like this: if not of fp int or if not of fp out p, that means to say either of the fp in p or fp out p, that is the file handlers of input file or the output file, were unsuccessful or unsuccessful to open, which contains a negative value, then we are simply going to say fatal error, unable to open the file, and we're going to exit. Right? Otherwise it will contain a positive value, and then we are going to continue. Now this is called as error handling. Now next set of things that are going to happen is we are going to read this particular input file line by line till the end of the file. Now what is happening here is while fp in, it means to say while end till the end of the file. What are we trying to do? We're reading every line by line that are present in this particular file through the file handler, that is fp in. So what is the syntax for reading a line from the file? Get line is the function that you are supposed to use. Again, this is used in fstream. This is declared in fstream, right? That's why we included that. So get line fp in, that is a file handler. This time we are not going to use the file name. We are going to use the file handler, comma name. This name here is, we had actually, if you remember, we had declared two string variables, string objects here. Now this here, in this case, name is the buffer. This is a temporary location where we are going to read the line and put. So we are going to read one particular line from this particular file and put it into name. Then we're going to flush the reverse string, that is erase. You erase the previous content of the reverse string. For the first iteration there will be junk, so we're going to simply erase that. And for the consecutive iterations of this particular loop, every time whatever was there in the previous iteration, inside rev, that will be erased, set to null or something like that. So now what are you going to do? We're going to reverse the string. So how do you going to reverse the string? For j is equal to name.length, name is just now we have read it from the file, one line. We're going to actually measure the length -1, because the index starts from length -1. J is greater than equal to 0 till you reach 0, and j minus minus. So we're going to traverse back. So from the last character that is there in name till the first character that is there in the name. So last character, the index is length -1. So say for example, if I am talking about a string like VADI, it contains 3 characters and length is actually 3, but the indices are like 0, 1 and 2, right? That's the reason they are supposed to start from length -1. So we are going to start from 3 and end till 0. That's why it is greater than or equal to 0. Now what are we trying to do? So we are simply concatenating every character into this particular reverse string. So get the last character in name, put it inside this. Again get the next last character, last bit 1 character, put it here. So like that we are going to do till the first character that is there in name. Now once this much is done, we are going to simply write it into the other file. So please observe, we read from the input file and we are writing it into the output file. Now how is it that we are writing? We are using this redirection operator here, and we are writing the reverse string. Now why is this endl? This endl is because every reverse string that we are going to write into the file should get into a new line. So that's the reason after writing the reverse string, we are also writing a new line character, correct? So this is something which we are going to do till we reach the end of the input file. So if the input file has got 5 names, at the 6th line this particular condition fails and we're going to come out. So till the end of the file, please remember this particular syntax, because in every lab we use this. In every program we're going to use this till we're going to traverse many files till the end of the file, and we're supposed to manipulate the contents. Now exactly after doing these things, please always remember that we're supposed to close the files, whichever file we open. So please observe, we open 2 files, and please remember to close those 2 files once everything is done. Otherwise it will be a lossy close, and the operating system will close it for you, but you're not sure whether the content that you wrote into it gets committed onto the disk or not. So please make sure that you close the file and then finally we will return. So this is exactly what we're going to do. Now we will see the demo of it in the next video.